The idea of a multiverse is fairly strange at first because most of us, when we hear the word universe, we think, well, that means everything, every star, every galaxy, everything that exists is part of the universe. And the reason why we have shifted language in physics to some extent is that we have been undertaking research over many decades, and little by little, we've come to the conclusion that there's a good possibility that what we have thought to be everything in the past may actually only be a small part of something that is much, much bigger. Our universe is envisioned to reside on a giant membrane, an ingredient that comes out of string theory. It's actually a three-dimensional membrane, but thinking in two-dimensional terms is easier. Think of our universe as if it were a huge slice of bread, with the other universes being other slices of bread, all together in a big cosmic loaf, if you will. And this is an idea that might be testable because at the Large Hadron Collider, which is a big accelerator in Geneva, Switzerland, protons and protons are slammed against each other at fantastically high velocity. And the math of string theory suggests that some of the debris created in those collisions might be ejected off of our universe, off of our slice of bread. And we'd notice that because the debris would take away energy, which means our detectors on our slice of bread would detect less energy after the collision than before. And people are going to look for these missing energy signatures, and if they're found, it could be evidence that we live on one of these membranes and that there are other membranes out there, other universes out there. How would you get empirical evidence for a realm that you can't visit and you can't see? It's a very subtle and difficult question. But I argue that there are ways, at least in principle, for getting that kind of evidence. But until we have it, you should be skeptical. You can be excited about these ideas. You can find them compelling, interesting, mind-expanding, but you can't believe them in the same way that you believe that I'm sitting in a chair and being pulled by gravity until we have this kind of empirical support. So it's a rich spectrum of possibilities, with the key underlying idea being that the ones that we take seriously are the ones that come out of our mathematical investigations, the ones that slap us in the face and say, consider me, consider the possibility that there are other universes, because that's where the math takes us. When we have studied the Big Bang mathematically, though, we have recognized that there's a missing piece. The missing piece is what started the outward swelling in the first place? What was that bang? And as physicists have tried to fill in that missing piece, there are some proposals on the table. The most compelling is one called inflationary cosmology. Name's not all that important. But when you study the mathematics of this proposal, you find that, yes, it seems to fill in what the bang was, but it doesn't say the bang was unique. The math seems to suggest that there would be many bangs at various and distant locations in a much wider cosmos, each bang giving rise to its own expanding realm, like a bubble, if you will, in a cosmic bubble bath of universes, our universe being the outgrowth of one of those bangs, simply one bubble. There's a very concrete image then of how our universe would be one of many. Even as my research is very mathematical, my entry into physics was very mathematical. As a kid, I was playing with numbers all the time. And when I learned that those numbers could be more than a game, those numbers could actually describe stuff that was out there in the real world, that's when I was hooked for good. I think we're standing at the threshold of what may be a fantastic revolution. A revolution which may show us that our universe is one of many. We don't know if it's right. We don't know that this is how it will turn out. But I think we're really at the cusp now of perhaps figuring that out. And that's why I thought it was a right moment to write a book that would allow the general public to come up to the frontier with us and see what's happening at the exciting edge of understanding.